Welcome everyone to my channel. I'm Andrea, your automated trader. If you like what I do and what I show you in my videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on my videos. In this video, we are going to see how to continue developing the expert advisor we are creating. Here we are. This is the expert advisor we were already working on in the previous videos. Today, the first thing we'll do is add a filter that will allow us to set the trading hours so we can decide when the expert advisor is allowed to trade or prevent it from operating when it's outside the time window we want to use. How do we do this? I'll show you now. So the first thing we need to do is add the inputs. I put them all in a group so that when I open the expert advisor, I find them grouped under the section related to trading hours. So we need to decide how to manage the trading hours. There are mainly two ways to do this. One is to use MQLH datetime and the other is to use strings. In this case, I'll use strings because it's faster for what we need to do. So as input, we'll have a string input that I've called stop time, which is the time when the expert advisor will stop, and after this time, it won't be able to trade anymore. And then we have the second input, which is also a string type called start time, which is when we start trading. So in this case, I have set it so that from 11 p.m. to 1:30 a.m., basically trading is not allowed. Of course, you need to evaluate which are the best times. For example, let us use these times. Next, we create a variable of type bool, so a Boolean variable that can have two values, true or false. In this case, I call it allowed time. If it is true, we can trade. If it is false, we cannot. We will use this later when we set the entry conditions. So let us see what we have added to the code, specifically inside the onTick function. In the onTick function, I have added these two lines. The first is a comment to indicate what this line of code represents, and the second is the actual filter we have created for the trading hours. Using an if statement, in this function, we insert time current, which is the current time, the time taken at each tick, so the current hour. It must be greater than or equal to the start time, so we have this very useful function, string2time, which is a dedicated function where we can easily pass a specific time in the precise format of hour minutes, and it then meticulously creates the corresponding time object for us. So the current time at this particular moment must indeed be greater than the designated start time, of course, because otherwise, if it were not, we would find ourselves completely outside the established trading window. And similarly, the current time must also be less than the specified stop time, quite obviously, right? If this precise condition happens to be met, then the allowed time for trading is considered true, meaning we are fully authorized to proceed with trading activities. Or there's the else, so if this doesn't happen, the allowed time is false, meaning we're not within the time window. When we can trade, so now, let's proceed to add another important moving average that we will effectively utilize to precisely pinpoint a reasonably good and opportune entry trigger. For simplicity, we've called the first moving average MA1 and the second MA2. So I just updated the variables, added a 1 here, and everywhere the first moving average was referenced. We make a buy when moving average 1 crosses moving average 2 and moving average 1 is above moving average 2. Let's say moving average 1 is the slower average. And we do the opposite when we need to make a sell, so we have the crossover. For the sell, when the fast moving average crosses below the slow one. Now I've set 200 and 100 periods just to have two somewhat different averages. So let's see what commands I've put in the code to try to make the entries. First of all, we need to get the ask and bid prices, that is the buy and sell prices of our cross that we are going to use. So to do this, we use the function symbol info double. We put symbol, so it takes the symbol directly from the chart, and we get as a value the symbol ask, which is the ask price. We do the same thing to get the bid. Why do we need to use both? Because for a buy, you usually use the ask price, and for a sell, you use the bid price. So I'm going to set up the condition to execute a buy. I put an if, so if moving average 2 is less than moving average 1 at value 0, which is the farthest one, and moving average 2 at 1 is greater than moving average 1, this means that we have the fast moving average crossing above the slow moving average from below. And then we add this condition and the allowed time with and. So all three must be valid because we want to trade only during the time period we've chosen. After that, we define the stop loss and the target. I didn't know exactly how to set them, so I defined them in points. I took the entry price minus 100 points for the stop loss and plus 200 for the target. Maybe in the future we'll improve this. The next two lines are used to normalize the stop loss and take profit values, which isn't strictly necessary, but it's always better to do it so that all the decimal places match what's required in MetaTrader, because otherwise, since we're using a double, we might have more decimal places. This line is the most important one because it's the one that actually allows us to execute the buy. Thank you. So in this case, since we want to enter the market, we need to do a buy, not a buy limit or a buy stop. We do a buy. And how do we do that? We do it using this line, trade buy. If it were a buy stop, it would be trade buy stop or trade buy limit, depending on what we want to do. The first value we enter is our size. For now, we do not have anything sophisticated, so we just enter a value we want. I'll call it 0.1 as a test. The symbol is taken from the chart, so we are making the trade on the symbol we get from the chart where we have placed the expert. The entry price is the ask. Then we set the stop loss, the target, and the comment, which is what we set earlier with the name of our expert advisor. For the sell, everything is basically the same. Only the conditions for the moving averages are reversed and there's still the time condition. Likewise, stop loss, target, take profit, etc. Everything is the same, just mirrored. Let's compile it. Everything works. Great. Now let's see what happens in our MetaTrader. We have our expert. Let's go test it. We'll use visual mode so we can see what happens. And let's start. Let's move forward slowly until the two moving averages should cross. Okay, here the moving averages cross and a bit of a problem occurs. What's happening? Basically, the way we've programmed our expert, it gets the signal that the moving averages have crossed, and since the time is within the window when we want to trade, it starts opening positions one after another. It keeps opening them endlessly. With every tick, it opens a position until it hits a stop loss. Or the target in any case, it keeps opening positions. This is not acceptable. We need to open one position and manage it until it reaches the target or stop loss, and then wait for a new entry signal. In the next video, we'll look at how to solve this problem of it opening many positions in sequence. Stay tuned to the channel to see the upcoming videos where I'll continue programming our expert.